Golden Doves class 215. We're on page 128. We are dealing with the Especularia Meira and the Especularia She'ena Meira. The Especularia Meira is the mirror through which Moshe Rabbeinu was able to behold the Shekhinah. The Especularia She'ena Meira is the mirror or sets of mirrors that the other Nevi'im were able to behold the Shekhinah. We pointed out that the word specularia, speculum in Latin, so speculum is a looking glass, a mirror, right? Speculate, you see the connection to the Chachamim, they touched upon a very raw nerve. The idea of speculum and to speculate, so the connection between the looking glass and thought. So that's the idea of aspecularia, the mind being a mirror, and in the mind you speculate, right? There was another aspect to the Latin speculum and the rabbinic specularia worth considering. In the aforementioned passages, right, for example, you have Amot Memtet, right? The rabbis use specularia to expound the sense of temunah form, because the pasuk says utmunat Adonai yabit. So there's a relation. They say, what does utmunat Adonai yabit mean? Moshe Rabbeinu was able to behold the temunah of Hashem. Of course, doesn't mean visual, right? But it has to do with the Shekhinah. So what does that mean? So I'm sorry, let me put this another way. Utmanat Adonai yabit. So you're mabit on the temunah. So the temunah is the form, or the temunah is an image, right? So the rabbis taught that Moses could not possibly look directly at God, of course. The temunah is not the shape of God, rather it is his reflection as projected onto the specularia. So the temunah is God's projection of himself as he projects himself and what he projects of himself, by the way, right? Onto the specularia of Moshe Rabbeinu, the mirror of Moshe Rabbeinu being the mind of Moshe Rabbeinu. But on what basis did the rabbis identify temunah with specularia? When they say utmunat Adonai yabit, there's an association between the word temunah, which means somehow form, right? And or image, right? And the idea of specularia. So we see this again explicit in the Chachamim, because on the pasuk utmunat Adonai yabit, they associate that pasuk with a specularia meira. So the temunah reflects the aspeclaria meira. So what's the relationship, or is there a relationship between the word temunah, which is what the Chachamim are explaining, and the idea of aspeclaria or speculum? That's the question, right? And there is. I think this is, by the way, this is brilliant, this coming passage. But on what basis did the rabbis identify temunah with specularia, right? Then Amozeg examined this problem. He indicated that the speculum is related to species. Both these terms stem from the Sanskrit spak, to look. Hence, speculum, looking glass, mirror, and species, a sight. And therefore, that which appears as outwardly familiar, because a species has to do with speculum, in as much as we identify a species. Oh, that's a cat, and that's a cat, and that's a cat. Even though they're a little different, but they look similar. They both have the shape, the physical shape of the form of a cat, right? So you see species and speculum, since species, or the identification of species, is based on the speculum, what you see. Right? So again, I just want to make sure this is clear. Utmunat Adonai Yabit. Moshe Rabbeinu is mabit on the temuna of Hashem. So that temuna, Chachamim says, aspeklaria me'ira. And Moshe Rabbeinu is mabit on the aspeklaria me'ira. Right? Just want to, again, I'm trying to be precise. And I want you to be precise in your thinking. And it shouldn't be sloppy. You should see clearly the point. Yeah. Likewise, Hebrew lexicographers noted that the root of temuna is mun, membav nun, from mean, right? So, eta'of lemino, for example, eta'hiyya lemina, for example, mean, mina, species, class. So fascinating. So the word specula means looking glass, but in speculum you have species. The word temuna is a looking glass or a mirror. And in that word, I mean, the idea of Chachamim, that they turn Utmunat Adonai Yabi to aspeklaria, because the word temuna itself not only means image, but it has in it the word mean, which is species. This is like this is like crazy stuff. I mean, this is like unbelievable. This is like crazy. How many people over generations, centuries and centuries saw that Gemara, and this is Pashut Mavil Harayon. It's unbelievable. Right. Thus, Temuna is the outer form exhibiting the inner characteristics of the species, right? How do I identify the mean? Because I see the Temuna, I see the image. A similar Temuna, so similar species, right? A footnote 42. Okay. So to the end of this section. Okay. Similarly, Philo remarked, for the primary species are in the genus to begin with and reveal themselves as in a mirror to those who have the faculty of keen vision. That's unbelievable connection. Philo makes the same connection. You see the primary species and the identification of particular animals within the category of a specific species is revealed as in a mirror. All you have to do is look carefully. So this looks like a cat, that looks like a cat, that looks like a cat. And I kind of understand they're all from the same species of cat. In fact, Maimonides noted that Temunah can refer to the outer image of a thing, to the impression that a thing leaves. Okay, so this is the Rambam in the Moneh Nebuchim. He has a chapter on Temunah. Helik Aleph, Perek Gimel, I'm pretty sure, right? So Maimonides noted that Temunah can refer to the outer image of a thing. That's one meaning of the word Temunah is the outer image of a thing, right? To the impression that a thing leaves on the imagination, specularia, which is not brilliant, and to the true semantic significance, mana, which intellect beholds. Let's start with the outer image of a thing. This is really deep stuff. I see a person I know. I see him. Let's say his name is Joey. So I see a person called Joey. As I see Joey with my eyes, I see his image. So I identify him as Joey. That's one meaning of Temunah, the outer image of a thing, while the person is seeing the thing that he's looking at. The second meaning is if you close your eyes and you think of Joey or whoever or whatever it is you're thinking about, that's the impression that the thing leaves on the imagination, right? That's the second meaning of Temunah. The third meaning of Temunah, this is all from Harambam. And my father, Alav Hashem, taught me the meaning of this. I don't know how many people, and I say this with humility, I don't know how many people in the world understand this passage in the Moreh correctly. But my father taught it to me, what I just said. And then the third, to the true semantic significance which the intellect beholds. So I see Joey with my eyes. I close my eyes. I see Joey in my mind. That's the Mayom. But then there's a temunah on the intellect, not on the imagination. I'll give you an example. And then, like, the intellect has the ability to analyze the image within the mind. I'll give you an example of this. Let me give you an example where, again, where the intellect is what sees the image. Because if I tell you, think of a person you like, and then you think of them and you have the image within your mind, can you analyze that image? No, because it's in the imagination level, so it's as an impression. To analyze the image intelligently takes a higher level of temunah. I'll give you an example. If you're a differential geometer, so I tell you to think of a four-dimensional cube. It's called a tesseract. A tesseract is a four-dimensional analog of a cube. I mean, a cube is three-dimensional, right? So the cube is a three-dimensional analog of a square, right? Now the tesseract, which is a four-dimensional analog of a cube, has 8 cubical cells. It has 24 square faces. It has 32 edges and 16 vertices. So now, if I ask you to imagine a four-dimensional cube, you might not be able to. I can't. But if I ask a differential geometer, hold on, let me take a step back, because a differential geometer, it involves, or differential geometry involves the study of curved surfaces and geometric structures using calculus, and because they have the mathematical tools to grasp the higher dimensional objects, we don't have those mathematical tools. So the direct visualization of a four-dimensional object is beyond our usual three-dimensional experience, where we experience everything as we do. But differential geometries, they use mathematical abstractions and projections and models, and therefore they can actually visualize a tesseract. They can visualize these, the 8 cubical cells and the 24 square faces and the 32 edges and the 16 vertices. That's the highest level of temunah, to visualize with the intellect, right? Furthermore, Maimonides remarked, it is in regard to this third sense that it was said, and the temunah of God he would behold, with temunat Adonai yabit, was with the intellect, not with the dimayon. That's Moshe Rabbeinu.